So this might be one of the stranger ideas I've had. See, I've got a whole collection of Pokemon cards. I just collect. I don't play the game or whatever. I just like collecting. You know, the age-old gotta catch 'em all kind of thing. And I thought, and one day while I was just kind of sorting through them, I had a fun idea of like, what if, like, I have so many cards, I could probably give them to different characters. So this is basically what would like, what if, and I see all the fan art all the time. That was kind of another inspiration. Was what if Owl House characters were Pokemon trainers? What Pokemon would they have, or whatever the fuck I'm going to call this? So yeah, so this is kind of a trial run because I did make a whole set for, and this is how bored I was. I literally just kind of sorted out a few others for Gravity Falls. I might do that one right after this one. So yeah. Also, FYI, I didn't make little, and I also have visual aids for this. I have visual aids for this. They're all right here. I didn't make little character packs, or whatever the fuck you want to call them, for every character, so you're not going to see like Emra, what Pokemon I think Emra and Edric would have, or Basha, or Belos, or Kikimora. That I can leave up to you guys. Like those I can leave up to you guys. So yeah, I just kind of stuck to the major cast. I put this in the sense of like if it was an actual Pokemon trainer, like what it was 6 Pokemon to a person. So that was kind of the fun idea. So let's get started with Luz, of course. Like I said, visual aids. So what Pokemon would Luz have, in my opinion? Starting off with her starter, it would probably be Eevee. Eevee just kind of connects for me, like for Luz. I think Luz would probably have an Eevee as her starter. It just kind of makes a lot of sense because much like Eevee, Luz wants to be whatever she wants to be. Like, and that's kind of a neat connection, like of having like Luz didn't really follow a set path. Like Eevee can set whatever path it wants. So it just kind of made a lot of sense to have Eevee as the as one of her Pokemon. Next up, Dartrix, because owls. You know, I had to have like an owl Pokemon for her, of course. Next up, we have Cubone, kind of as the fun fill-in for King, because in this Pokemon universe there wouldn't be a King, but it would be kind of fun of like her Cubone named King. I just think that'd be kind of neat. Next up, we have Arbok. Again, Luz really loves snakes, and that's and Arbok would be kind of representative of String Beam. It would kind of be like a fun one, and also like I was originally thinking Ekans, but like Arbok would be a lot of fun because Luz would probably have, you know, this Pokemon in her back pocket as like her, you know, heavy hitter in a way. Then we have Duat. Reason why? Otter. It's really it. Like it's a frickin' otter. And Luz, of course, was dressed as an otter. I just like, again, these are the jokes, folks. And finally, we have Gyarados, because for some reason spiders are always connected to Luz. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's Luz's group. That's Luz's Pokemon. Let's do Ida next. Yes, I have them all sat here. I'm so professional. Yep, so Ida was a little more fun because I kind of imagined Ida would be more something akin to like a gym leader. I kind of imagined her as like in this Pokemon universe version of the characters. Ida would probably be a gym leader training Luz. That's how I imagined it anyway. So I kind of thought it in the way of like a gym leader would. So first off, we got Noctowl. I know I see a lot of fan art of using Decidueye for Ida having an owl Pokemon, but I was like, where's the love for Noctowl? Aesthetically, it makes a lot more sense for Ida. That's just me. Next up, Gardevoir. Again, aesthetically, it makes a lot of sense for Ida, in my opinion. So it was kind of like a no-brainer kind of thing. Following that, Dusknoir. Dusknoir would be probably Ida's like another big gun for her, and again, I do see her with a lot of stronger Pokemon because she's been at this game for so long, and she has been training hard with these Pokemon. I also see her with a few ghost Pokemon, as you'll see. Next up, Candelure. Candelar, reason I picked him was, again, it's kind of that whole magic feel that Ida goes for, and also it's kind of a Pokemon I could be like, yeah, I could see that with her. Next up, Thurvel. Why Thurvel? Because Ida is, again, it kind of plays in the whole Ida's charlatan ways, as well as, you know, being a thief and a trickster, so it made sense to have a fox Pokemon in here. Don't worry, Rain's here and she's got a fox, don't worry. And finally, we have Gengar, because Ida is always about fun and, you know, always being a trickster herself. So for like when I was thinking for Ida, I was like, yeah, Gengar like she would totally have Gengar in her pocket. So there you go. All right, let's do Amity next. So Amity, first up, Meowstic to represent Ghost, her palisman. Meowstic would be another fun one. I think like if she was I imagine Amity's Pokemon, because of her family, would probably, like, she's trained them more. That a lot of them are evolved, a lot of them are stronger, and Meowstic would probably be like her starter Pokemon, and she had it evolved. So that was kind of the idea I had. Next up, Muck to represent the Abomination track. I see a lot of fan art with her with Grimer, but I just kind of imagine personally that she would have Muck because, again, she would be a hard trainer that would be teaching her Pokemon and drilling them as hard as they can to get them to evolve as fast as she can, and Muck would be representative of that. Next up, Umbreon. Again, a connection to Luz, but this time, and I know some people are going to say, well, what about Espeon? I know a lot of people say Espeon, but I personally say Umbreon because, again, it kind of matches her aesthetically. Next up, Chimecho. Chimecho is another Pokemon that would probably be one of Amity's newer Pokemon that she's trying to train, and like one she'd constantly have out with the Meowstic. Like it would like be out of its Pokeball, just kind of like flying around. Just have that thought. Next up, we have Mawile. Again, this is a Pokemon, like, I know this one's also Steel, like the Steel type one, but like Mawile is, again, another aesthetic choice, and it's one I've seen fan art. I was like, damn, I could really see that as one of Amity's Pokemon. And finally, we have Lunaton. Kind of going into the whole, again, another aesthetic choice, and one you could easily see with Amity. So those are Amity's Pokemon. Let's do... I'm picking them all right here. Let's do Lilith next. So Lilith. This was the one, like, when I found this card in one of the packs, this was the one I was like, yeah, this would be Lilith's Pokemon from like, she would have it as a kid, and evolve it all the way through. And that is Corviknight. Corviknight, again, with the whole Raven aesthetic that Lilith has, Corviknight would be like her Pokemon. She would come flying in, riding on Corviknight's back, and kind of like establishing, like, I'm the authority here, and Corviknight's gonna back me up. Next up, Oranguru. Oranguru, you may be thinking that's an odd choice, but really, like, it's supposed to be, like, again, another psychic type, and also, it's supposed to be, like, a wise Pokemon, and I do see, like, Lilith would have a Pokemon that would be kind of representative of her teachings to Amity. Next up, Malamar. Malamar is, again, like, she's kind of in the darker aesthetic, so Malamar would be a neat pick for her. And also, I do imagine that a lot of Lilith's Pokemon would be just as strong as Ida's Pokemon, because, again, that whole rivalry. So Malamar would be a part of that. Following that, Xatu. Xatu was one of the first Pokemon I thought of when I was thinking Pokemon for Lilith. I was like, yeah, Xatu would be a perfect pick, because, again, it's that whole meditation, the aesthetic, the kind of the mysticism that Lilith has. Next up, Wiredeer. Wiredeer is another Pokemon I could see her, like, training with, and also, like, riding on whenever she enters the scene, and would be one of her, probably, Lilith's earlier Pokemon that she's been training and bonding with. Same with Gothitelle, excuse me. Sometimes I can't pronounce these names for shit. Probably having this thing since its first form and evolving it up. I do imagine, like, like I kind of imagine it would be one of Lilith's first Pokemon that she would really, like, train hard with, you know? So there you go. That's all of Lilith's Pokemon. Alright, so who should we... let's do Willow next. Obviously, Willow would have a lot of Grass-type Pokemon in her possession. There's no doubt about that Willow would have Grass-type Pokemon. But they wouldn't all be plants. Starting off with Beedrill. Again, that represents her, you know, her Palisman. And also, Willow is a I will fight you if need be kind of person. And Beedrill would be a great interpretation of that. Like, I could see her like how she found and bonded with this Beedrill is that she found a little Weedle in her garden and when she was younger and just like, hi, let's be friends, and like took care of it and evolved it into Kakuna, and then when it evolved into Beedrill, it just kind of stuck around with her. Next up, Carnivine. A plant-type Pokemon you wouldn't expect, but also at the same time, it makes a lot of sense because, like, Willow is the embodiment of, I'm cute, but I'll stab you. And Carnivine is a great addition to it. I could totally see, like, she would try to have Carnivine, like, scare Basha and Scara and their Pokemon, which, again, I didn't make up. That's up to you. Following that, Bellossom. Bellossom is, again, that whole thing of, I'm cute, but I'm gonna stab you if you piss me off. Willow would be I think would have a lot of fun with her, and again, it's another Pokemon she'd find as an Oddish and raise it to be Bellossom. Same with this one, Roselia. Roselia would be another Pokemon, another plant type she would have at her disposal. And finally, Butterfree. I do kind of see it like in this headcanon that she'd probably also find a Caterpie along with the Weedle in her garden, and the Beedrill and Butterfree would be her first two Pokemon that she would have and kind of raise to train. And finally, Sunflora, because you gotta have a flower for, you know, you gotta keep up with this whole plant aesthetic, right? So those are all of Willow's Pokemon. Let's do Hunter. So Hunter's Pokemon, oh boy. Starting off with Yamask. Because, you know, when he started out as the Golden Guard, he had that mask. And I do see, like a lot of fan art when there's Pokemon AUs of the Owl House characters. Yamask is always paired with him. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Following that, Mightyena. Again, Hunter really loves wolves, so I put a lot of wolf-type Pokemon or dog-type Pokemon in his collection. But this is not one of them, Fetch Cinder, because it's a Cardinal-like Pokemon, and that's, you know, to represent Flapjack. Also, I think, like, this would be Fetch Cinder would be the Pokemon he would have out and have it, like, fly around him. Like, that would be, kind of like his Pikachu, where it would be out and about and, like, it would be out and about and flying around, like, talking, like, chirping to him and whatnot, having conversations with him, things like that. Then we have Lycanroc. Going back to the whole dogs and wolf type thing, I was thinking Arcanine, but I was like, I don't want every one of Hunter's Pokemon to be like dogs and wolves. Even though it does make a lot of sense, I did want to have some variety with them. Maincentric, another dog-type wolf Pokemon, a little going against the grain. Didn't want Arcanine and wanted to use it for another character. Yeah, and finally Houndoom. Yeah. Like I said, I was making when I was sorting out all the Pokemon I could see all the characters have, I was like, oh man, that's so many dogs. I need to break that up a bit. So let's do Gus next. So Gus, Girafarig, because of his obsession with the human world, and also he was kind of interested of where the giraffes went, so Girafarig was on that. It was kind of the easy one. Next, Behinamine. I cannot pronounce this name, but it's kind of alien, kind of out there. And I do imagine a lot of Gus's Pokemon being kind of weird and out there because of his, his illusionary abilities and whatnot. I do kind of see that for him. Espathra was kind of another representation of that he has these kind of out there illusionary abilities and would be a perfect kind of set for it, really. Though this next Pokemon's a little out there, but Nidorino. Because I think like Gus would have have some Pokemon who would have kind of that kind of muscle to them, and someone he could bring the fight to. Then Sobel, probably would be his his Pikachu type Pokemon that he'd out and about. Again, represents his chameleon talisman. And finally Tangela, because for some reason to me Gus having a Tangela makes a lot of sense. Next up, V. V, it was easy. Ditto. Ditto was kind of like, because again, she's a shapeshifter. Ditto is a shapeshifter, and I think she'd really bond with it. Same with Mushrana. Mushrana is a dream-like Pokemon, and is someone is another Pokemon that's kind of misunderstood in its own way. So I think it would kind of she would really bond with something that is kind of a misunderstood dream-like Pokemon. Clefable, because V kind of works for having fairy-type Pokemon, and it's also kind of very alien-looking, very much like V. Then you have Drifloon. I don't know why. Just kind of when I was making it, I was like, Drifloon. It really feels like something V would have in her collection of Pokemon. And then we have Mimikyu, which was also perfect. Like Ditto and Mimikyu were the ones that were the ones I was like, yeah, that's those ones are perfect that she would have. Same with Zorora, another shape-shifting type Pokemon who can take on the abilities of others around them. Yeah. V was actually really easy to do. Not gonna lie. Then finally we have Rain Whisper, starting off with the obvious pick, Melioda, because singing. Then we have Delphox. I told you there was going to be a Fox-type Pokemon, and I imagine this would probably be her strongest Pokemon in her collection. The next one is a little weird, but for some reason I could see Rain having this Pokemon, and that is Tentacruel. I don't know why, it's just Tentacruel really works for them. I don't know. It really fits them. I don't know why. Probably because Rain was a very much I'm gonna go kick your ass if you hurt anyone I love. And Tentacruel is a good embodiment of that. Following that, you have Morgrem. Morgrem, kind of impish, kind of dangerous, and I think it would be something that would remind them of Ida. Then we have Sableye, another kind of tricksterish Pokemon that aesthetically works for them. And finally, Swiftry, because this is another Pokemon that is, I look cool, but also I'll beat the shit out of you. So there you go, guys. Those are all the Pokemon I could see with the characters. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what Pokemon could you see with Owl House characters? And like I said, I didn't think of Pokemon for everybody, but just kind of the main ones. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what Pokemon could you see with the Owl House characters? Just comment below, let me know. If this does well, maybe I'll do the other one for Gravity Falls, I don't know. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time, the Multiverse.